Hello, Luke Malevich here, ChicagoJazzTrombone.com, and welcome to Trombone Basics. In this video, I'm going to talk about some important trombone accessories, some of which you will want to carry with you in your case, and a few that you will want to keep at home. Before we get started, don't forget to click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified as soon as I post a new video. Now, if you check the video description below, you'll see links to all of the products I'll be mentioning, so it will be very easy for you to find what you need. Let's get started. Here are a few things I'd like to mention before we get into the rest of the accessories. Let's begin with the music stand. I always recommend that my students purchase a Manhasset stand. Now, these are a little more expensive, but they are very sturdy and won't let your music fall like some of the cheaper folding wire stands, such as this one. If you need to save space in your home, there's a folding stand that I take with me on performances and that I recommend to my students, and it's called the Peak Music Stand. It's very sturdy for a folding stand, and it can save you space. Now let's talk about a trombone stand. The one I would recommend is made by K&M, and here it is. Something that professional trombonists often do is put a black sock over the top of the stand, like this. This way, the rubber part that the bell sits on doesn't leave any markings inside the bell. Another product that you want to purchase depends on the type of instrument you have. There are many types of trombones, but the one distinguishing factor is the presence or absence of a trigger. Most beginners will start on a straight tenor trombone that will look similar to this one. If you happen to start on an instrument with a trigger, like the one over here, you would also want to add a valve oil to your accessory list. Finally, we have the Metronome and Tuner, which are great practice tools. With technology today, it's not always necessary to purchase these as separate devices, as they are readily available as apps on a phone or tablet. For tuner apps, I recommend Tonal Energy, as it comes with a function that plays a note, and it will allow the player to match that note, or what's called playing with a drone. This is preferred to the standard tuner that simply has the player follow a visual cue to check if the note is in tune. For a metronome, I really don't have a specific preference, as there are plenty of free apps available. Now let's go ahead and jump into the rest of the accessories. Here we go. We have all of our accessories laid out on the table, and I'm going to walk you through everything that I would encourage for you to have in your case at all times, and a few extra things for you to keep at home. We're going to start here on our left side with probably one of the most important things to have, and that's slide lubricant. This is the one that I use, and this is the one that I recommend for all my students. It's made by Yamaha and simply called Yamaha Trombone Slide Lubricant. With my years of experience, this has been the best lubricant that I've used on my slide. Now with a beginning instrument, there's a good chance you're going to have something that comes in the case that could be a clear liquid like a slide oil, and I would recommend if that's something that you have, that you don't use it. A lot of those products are not good for your slide and they don't work well at all. I would recommend, as I do for all my students, for you to use the Yamaha Trombone Slide Lubricant. As you can see here, this is a brand new one. This is exactly how it comes. You can get this online or at most of your local music stores. Right next to that, we have a water bottle. I use this after using the slide lubricant. I'll spray just a little bit of water on the slide. It's not necessary to get something this small. This is just something that I use because I want to save space in my trombone case. As I'll show you at the end of the video, I'll give you a walkthrough of my entire case and all the accessories that I use, and you'll see why I have something this small. Obviously, you can get a bigger water bottle if it'll fit in your case. This is just something that I prefer. And there's plenty of water here for me. Right next to that, we have our Mouthpiece Brush. This you can get separately, or you can purchase it with the maintenance kit at your local music store. It's an important thing to have. Mouthpieces get dirty, and as we eat food and then go to play the instrument, you might get some food particles stuck in the mouthpiece. So you might want to clean it once a week or maybe more often, again, depending on how much you practice during the week. Next to that, we have a tuning slide lubricant. This is made by a company called Hedman. There are obviously different brands, and you're welcome to look around and try different things. This is just what I use. They have different numbers, and number 6 is the number that I have. It's called tuning slide oil. I've used this for years, and it works really, really well. I want to make sure all my students have something for the tuning slide, because you want not only the hand slide, but the tuning slide to move well also, so that it doesn't get stuck and you're able to adjust your tuning whenever you need to. Underneath that, we simply have a little towel. This I use to wipe off the inner slide before I apply any of the lubricants. I'll gently wipe off the inner slide, just in case there's any residue left on it. You can get a cleaning cloth that comes with the maintenance kit, but you can also just get a regular towel. You want to make sure whatever you use, it's nice and soft that you don't damage the slide. Now over here we have our pencils, something that you want to have in your case at all times, during rehearsals, during performances. You want to make sure that you have it in case you have to mark your music. If you're using an iPad or a tablet, there's obviously different things associated with that, but if you're using printed music, you always want to make sure you have a pencil and never mark anything with a pen. You want to make sure whatever you mark that you can easily erase. I prefer mechanical pencils as there's less maintenance. There's no sharpening. They're really easy to use. I have 2. Mainly if something happens and one breaks, but more importantly, if somebody next to me needs to use one, I have an extra one that I can lend out. And here we just have some replacement erasers and some extra lead in case I need it. I've had these pencils for many years. As you can see, there's still plenty of lead left. Now down here, we have our cleaning rod. Now I'll use this to clean out the outer trombone slide. I won't do this every time I apply new lubricant, but I'll do this maybe every 3 or 4 times when I'm applying lubricant. I'll make sure to clean out the outer trombone slide just in case there's any buildup in there. This is made by a company called Slidomix. There's 2 different colors, one for small bore trombones and one for large bore. A small bore trombone is something I primarily use, and it's also what most beginning students have to start with. That simply means that it's a trombone without a trigger. I use this to clean the outer slide very simply by putting it in 2 or 3 times on both tubes to make sure there's nothing inside before I apply new lubricant. And again, it's necessary to do this every time, but perhaps every 2 or 3 times. That's something that stays in my case all the time. Now over here on the right, I have a few things that aren't necessary to keep in your case at all times, but things that I would recommend having at home. Let me walk you through them. This is simply just chapstick. This is made by a company called Robinson's Remedies. I actually usually carry this with me in my pocket just to have as a chapstick, because again, if your lips are chapped, dry, it might become a little bit more difficult to play. So you usually want to have something with you to make sure that your embouchure is ready to go. Next to that, we have 2 different cleaning snakes. This is the one that you'll see more often. It's got a very soft nylon brush. You want to make sure that it's very soft so that when you're cleaning the inside of the slide, it doesn't damage the metal. You can get these at your local music store. They probably will come with an entire maintenance kit. Just make sure that it's nice and soft so again it doesn't damage the instrument. Now this is the one that I like to use. I carry this with me in my case. As you can see, this is another snake and it has a nice soft brush. This again is made by Slidomix, and it's the same company that made the cleaning rod cover. And the nice thing about this is that I'll run the snake through the slide to clean the slide. I won't run it all the way through, not all the way with the cloth, just with the brush to clean off whatever residue is inside the slide. And then at the end, when the inside's completely clean and probably just has some water left inside, then I'll run it all the way through, and as you can see, there's a cloth at the end, and the cloth will dry the inside of the slide. Again, this is the one that I like to use, made by Slidomix. And as with all of these, I'm going to have links at the bottom of the YouTube video so you can purchase the exact ones that you see here. But again, you're always welcome to do some research and see what else is available. Now this last one here, it's something that's not really necessary for you to have, but it's something that I carry in my case just for emergencies. This is painter's tape or masking tape. I have this just in case the water key on my instrument happens to break, which really has only happened once on an older model that I had. With the new instruments that I play now made by Yamaha, I've never had any issues with their water key, but just to be on the safe side, if the spring were to break during a performance or a rehearsal, I have something to be able to fix it. With you, there's a good chance that your band director is going to have whatever you need to fix the instrument, at least at the school, but at home, it's good to have something like this in order to do a quick fix before you can take your instrument to your local repair shop. Now, again, I recommend painter's tape or masking tape so that it doesn't leave any residue on the slide, and it's really easy to remove when the slide makes it to the repair shop. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take all these accessories and put them back in my case and set up my instrument for you, and I'm going to give you a walkthrough of everything that's inside my case at all times. There'll be some extra things there that I didn't mention in this video that you won't necessarily need, but it'll be interesting for you to see what a professional trombonist will have in their case at all times. Alright, here we go. This is my trombone case. As you may notice, it's probably different than the one that you have. This is a soft case, but everything inside is really well protected. As you can see, there's also no bulge here on the left side for where you expect the bell to be. You'll see why that is in just a moment. This is actually a really small case that I take with me at all my performances and rehearsals, and I've never had any issues with it protecting the instrument. With you as a beginner, I'm sure with the hard case you're going to be much safer, but just for fun, you can see how everything fits in my case. Nice and easy, this is the slide, stays right in here. Let me take it out. And the other thing that I have in here is my cleaning rod. Stays in here the whole time. Let's put it back in. Zip it back up. Now this is where all the fun stuff is. Let's open it up. Let's see where everything is placed. I'll take things out one by one for you. As you can see, this is my cleaning towel, and inside here I have a pixie mute that I use on my performances. It's one of the mutes that I always carry with me. I do a lot of jazz, rock, funk, a lot of commercial music, and that's one of the mutes that I like to have with me. Now in here, let me take all this out. Now as you can see, I have a detachable bell flare on my instrument. The flare's over here, and the rest of the bell section's over here. And that's why you can fit it quite flat and makes the case really small. Moving on, I have my cleaning stake here, and this little pouch that houses all of my accessories that I carry with me. And this is a bucket mute. I'm going to put this over here. Before I walk you through the accessories, let's look at what's over here by the flare. I have a plunger here. Here's my painter's tape or masking tape. And over here is a pouch where I have my mouthpiece. Normally I carry two just in case, but at the moment there's just a one. Now let's put everything back in here. The flare back in and put it back inside the case. Now let's open up our accessory pouch. Now some of these you would have seen in the video, and there's a few extra ones that you didn't. Here's our water spray bottle, here's our slide lubricant, our extra erasers and lead for the mechanical pencils. Here are my two pencils. I have my tuning slide oil. Here's my mouthpiece brush. Those I believe are all the ones that I've shown you in the video. Now so here are some extra things. This is tuning slide grease that I actually use this on my lead pipe. I'll show you here as I take out my slide. My slide has a removable lead pipe. You'll see the part here. This part unscrews. Especially when I'm cleaning the instrument, I'll take it out and put a little bit of grease inside so that the metal's not rubbing together when I put the lead pipe back in. On professional horns, a lot of them have removable lead pipes. But on beginning instruments, it's all going to be one part that you won't be able to take out. Let's close this back up. Now here I have some earplugs. I actually carry a set of earplugs with me in my pocket at all times. This is just in case I forget my earplugs that I have a spare set inside my case at all times. With a lot of the performance I do, they can be quite loud, so I want to be careful. Here we have floss. Again, if I'm eating something before a performance or on the break, I don't want too much of the food or any of the food to get inside my instrument, so I want to be able to clean everything out. Here I have some lip balm. Again, I carry my chapstick with me in my pocket, but this is just in case I forget to bring it with me. I have a little bit of lip balm inside the case. Here's another type of slide grease here made by Yamaha that I have. We have a big eraser. And here are some clothespins. I use these for outdoor performances. Do a bunch of those throughout the year just to make sure that the music doesn't fly away off the stand. I always have a set with me just in case. This is more than I need, so I always have an extra one or two just in case somebody next to me might need to use one. And lastly here, I have a 12-sided die. This I use all the time when I'm practicing and when I'm teaching lessons. Specifically if we're working on major scales or minor scales, there's 12 of each. There's 12 of a lot of different scales, and if that's the case, as opposed to having to pick a scale I want to practice with a student, I may just toss this up and just pick a random scale. Each scale is assigned a number, and that's why I have this. Here you go. These are all the accessories that I carry with me in my case at all times. And again, not all of these are ones that you're going to need when you're beginning, but it's nice for you to see what a professional will have in their case. And everything happens to fit very nicely inside my case. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.